episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today, it's a little surprise for Connie, but I gave her a couple stories to choose from. So we're going to be talking about a kidnapping. Before we get started, though, do want to say, you can do the social media plug, but I do want to say that quick trigger warning for toxic violence, sexual assault. We're not going into any great detail on anything, but just in case.
God, I definitely thought you were going to do the social media. That's where I'm like, oh yeah, smile. Smile wasn't for the trigger warning.
No.
But yes, as you said, you can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
Yes.
Why does that one always leave me?
Well, because we're kind of on there, kind of not. I've done a couple posts in the past couple days, but that's about as much as I've done on there.
We're trying. But the handles at all of them are at Chaos Chronicles Podcast. That's Chronicles with an S. We would very much appreciate a like and subscribe. Yes, or follow.
All of the above?
All of the above.
Even better.
Share. Tell your family. Yes. Unless your family is a bunch of really conservative Mormons and they don't like internet people, then don't tell them.
Yes. Well, we also have tea today. I'm getting Connie into some loose leaf tea.
It's so good. It tastes like an oatmeal cookie, but not like the overly sugary ones where you taste it. You taste it. I was trying to say taste and take a bite, and it was taste. Yeah, when you do that, and it's just kind of like bleh because it's over sugary.
Yeah,
it's not that. This is just like the sweetness and the essence of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
It is really good.
Thank you for bringing these.
Absolutely. I am obsessed with tea. And we're trying to drink more water. So
yes, if you saw our 75 hard challenge, we are now almost at the end of the first week.
Mm-hmm.
It is a struggle for me to get that gallon of water. For Jess, no problem.
No, once I started paying attention to how much I was actually drinking, I realized in a day I typically drink about 1.5 gallons of water normally. So that part isn't an issue for me.
It is an issue for me.
Yeah,
we're getting there. I'm slowly working my way up, but I don't have money on the line. I'm not going for like the hardcore perfect. I'm going for sustainable.
Yes. Yep. We're doing our best.
We're doing our best. That's what counts.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely.
Depends who you ask.
Well, for our standards, it counts.
Exactly.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, speaking of standards, our standard is now kind of getting into the mysteries and the historical stuff and the odd and the creepy. So let's talk about kidnapping.
Yeah. Well, so have you ever heard of the story of, I believe her name is pronounced Kara Robinson?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but details are not coming to mind.
Okay. All right. Well, that is who we're going to be talking about today.
Wow.
So most of my information, just to let you guys know, is coming from interviews from Kara and other articles that are between like Newsweek, eNews, People.com, and Fox News. So Kara was a 15-year-old and lived in South Carolina. It was June of 2002, and Kara just got out of school for the summer. So she was excited and had planned on spending it with her boyfriend and her best friend, Heather.
And how old was she? Sorry, did you say?
15.
15.
Mm-hmm.
So 2002, June 15. And she's going to hang out with her boyfriend and friend. Okay.
Well, she's excited to go and spend the summer with them. Spend time with them over the summer. Mm-hmm.
So something tells me she doesn't make it to that, does she?
Well, we'll get there. So Kara had spent the night with Heather at Heather's parents' house on June 24th. They decided on the 25th that they were going to go to another friend's house who lived on a lake. Both the girls called their mothers to let them know what the plans were for the day, and each of the mothers told them to have a good time. Heather's mom had an extra request and asked if they could water the plants in the front yard before they took off for the lake house, which, normal.
Yeah.
Normal. Heather still needed to shower before they headed out, So Kara volunteered to take care of watering the plants for Heather. Kara hadn't gotten dressed for the day yet, so she went outside in the clothes that she slept in, no shoes. She walked out to get the hose, turned it on, and walked over and started watering the plants. While watering the plants, Kara was excitedly thinking about the day ahead of her and was excited to be going to see her boyfriend. A dark green Pontiac Firebird drove by, and Kara thought she wouldn't mind having a car like that once she got her license. That same car circled back and pulled into the driveway. Kara assumed that it had to have been someone who knew Heather's mom. A middle-aged man with tidy facial hair and wearing a baseball cap, a button-down shirt, and jeans got out of his car. He had a binder in his hands. The man walked over to Kara and said he was in the neighborhood distributing magazines. Staying a few feet back, he asked if her parents were home. She informed him that this was her friend's house. The man asked if her parents were home. She said no, and the man said, maybe you can just leave these here for her mom to get when she gets home. When Kara agreed, he stepped forward to hand them to her, and when she grabbed them, he pressed a gun to her neck and said, why don't you come with me?
Hey, real quick safety tip here that I was raised on, and this is not at all blaming Kara. Kara?
Kara.
Yeah. When an adult asks, are your parents home? Say yes. Always say yes.
Yep. I was raised in that fashion, and probably because of stuff like this that happened, because in 2002, we were 5.
Yeah.
5, 6, 5.
5 or 6, yeah.
5
Kindergarten.
or 6, yeah. We were little, so both of us were raised on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't tell them.
No.
If they ask, say yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's always yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she obeys, and he brings her to his car. He tells her to get in the back seat, which was occupied with a large plastic storage container. The man tells her to get in, and again she obeys.
So she's in the storage bin in the back?
Mm-hmm. She climbs into the storage bin. Very tiny, very claustrophobic. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So Kara knew immediately that he wanted to assault her. So she formed a plan to get as much information about him as possible, gain his trust, and then ultimately escape.
Okay. That is one of those techniques where if you are not able to scream, shout, and get help, that is one of the things that a lot of folks have talked about as a safety measure of playing along until you are able to escape or get help.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. And that's exactly what she did. So the man drove away, and Kara was able to tell that he went on the interstate. As they drove, she memorized the songs that were playing on the radio, as well as the serial number on the container that she was in.
Smart girl. She is being
Very smart.
incredibly observant.
Very. And this is why I said this is an incredible story.
This is, and for those who aren't tracking, memorizing those songs, that's a way of telling how long you were in the car, which is a huge thing.
Yep.
Especially if you're able to escape and then backtracking steps to catch the perpetrator. Knowing how far you went is huge.
It is huge. Yep. And how she memorized all these numbers. And this wasn't the only thing she memorized, but
I mean, at that point, your life is on the line. I'm sure you are able to start locking in some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I never want to find out.
Senses are heightened. Yeah.
Just being in a bin in the back in a car.
Yeah. So Kara was able to keep calm and stay focused by saying over and over to herself, stay calm, gather information, escape. Just
Smart
over and over.
Girl.
Yeah.
Did she receive any training beyond the basic training that you get as a kid? Wow, how depressing is that you have to have basic safety training?
Well, this is also 2002.
True, but I might be a little more biased, I think the word is, because I grew up knowing the story of Jacob Wetterling. You know his story? That actually took place in my mom's hometown.
Okay.
So, like, I've grown up on, like, everyone knows these safety things. Like, this is everything.
Yeah, I feel like those safety measures weren't, obviously they had begun at this point in time, but I feel like they weren't really a thing until we were 8, 9 is really when they really started to crack down on
That was the
everything.
stranger danger in schools.
Yeah.
I do remember that, actually, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was free world before that, but like
A little. In
a
comparison
little
to
more
today.
compared to what it is now. It was a little more free and lenient.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta remind myself of that we are experiencing 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Not today.
No.
But wow, okay. Smart girl. Very smart girl.
Very, very smart girl. So the car got off the freeway and then pulled over. Her captor took the lid off of the container and he placed handcuffs on her and gagged her. He told her to scream as loud as she could, and he seemed satisfied and then placed the lid back on to make sure that if she would scream, no one would hear her. He drove a little longer and then parked, and then he carried the container into his apartment. Kara was held captive for 18 hours. During this time, she was assaulted multiple times, and he had told her that once he was done with her, he would take her somewhere where she didn't know and let her go.
That's a lie. That's always a lie.
It's a lie. It makes them believe that they don't have to escape because you're going to let me go if I just obey you.
If you can see the face of the perpetrator, they are not letting you go.
No. They will not let you go. So it's funny you mentioned that. He had also told Kara that it was her choice to go to the police, but to know that if she did, she would always be known as the girl who was raped.
Oh, go to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Let that one just sink in a little bit.
Okay. I'm laughing only because that's how I mask anger.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is 100% anger coming from Connie right now.
Oh, yeah, this is, yeah, if you can't see the video and you don't know me, this is. Okay.
Yeah, often when both of us get very angry, we start laughing.
Yeah.
So, apologies.
Yeah. Our
That's the
husbands know
scary.
that well.
Yeah, that's the scary anger coming out.
Yeah, that's the one where it's I don't really care what the law of the land is. This person needs to be beat.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
To death.
Yeah. So, Kara decided that she wouldn't be just the girl who was raped, and
Good.
she wasn't willing to let him decide her fate.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Literally perfect. No one else decides who you are but you.
Exactly. Yeah. Him saying that just got her to dig her heels in deeper.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
This guy, it doesn't get better.
I really want to ask what happened to him, but I'm going to wait. Wait.
We will get there. I promise you, we will get there.
Oh, good.
Yes. So she remained calm while she was held captive and gathered as much information about him as she possibly could.
Good girl.
Yep. She learned during their conversations that he used to be in the Navy. When Kara was in his kitchen, she had memorized the name of his dentist and doctor that were on magnets on his fridge. She also memorized the phone numbers for those offices. That's why I said girl has an amazing memory.
No. I'm remembering this Oh my God. Okay, I don't remember all of it, but that section in particular, I remember because my parents talked to me about, and they said, if you do have to memorize things if anything bad
Yeah.
ever happens.
Yeah. Doesn't it
Oh
just
my
give you
God.
chills?
It
Oh.
I've still got a solid anger baseline from his previous
Oh,
comments.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. That is.
Mm-hmm.
I have no words for how angry that makes me. Just. Oof, oof, oof,
I
oof.
don't have words, but I have some stabby actions. I'd be more than happy to show him.
Mhm, mhm.
Only slightly hypothetical for court of law.
Only slightly.
Only slightly. Not admissible.
Oh, gosh. So when Kara was in the bathroom, she noticed that there were feminine hygiene products in there, as well as a hairbrush that had long red hair in it. So she believed that a woman would have had to have lived there with
Yeah.
our perpetrator. Again, her goal was to gather as much information about him as possible so the police would be able to identify him later. Later into the night, he placed Kara in restraints before bed. He restrained her with a set of fur-lined handcuffs.
I do know this story. Shit.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
I don't remember all of it, but I'm remembering this part.
Yeah. So the fur-lined handcuffs with the reinforced metal underneath. And the handcuffs were attached to the frame of the bed with a rope and a carabiner clip that had a screw closure. Her right leg had a restraint on it that was connected to the foot of the bed with a rope and a carabiner. Her captor forced her to take drugs, so Kara would fall asleep next to him. She awoke early the next morning, but her captor was still asleep next to her. At that moment, Kara knew that this was her only chance to escape. She first tried to free her hands by trying to squeeze out of them. Unfortunately, they were too tight, so she went to unscrew the clip that was connecting the restraints to the rope. She used her teeth to loosen the screw clasp that was on the clip and was able to slide the handcuffs out of the clasp. She then carefully disconnected the carabiner from her leg restraint. She slid out of bed, and she was wearing her captor's shirt, and she found her shorts in the living room, put them on. She made it to the front door, which was locked, and the container that she was brought inside with was sitting right in front of the door. She moved the container and unlocked the door. Knowing she had only one shot at escaping, she opened the door and ran as fast as she could. If her captor woke up or looked out the window and saw her, or he was able to catch her, she knew she would either be majorly injured or killed.
Yeah.
She saw a car in the complex parking lot that was driving. She flagged them down, and there were two men inside. She told them that she had been kidnapped and asked them to take her to the police. When she got to the sheriff's department, she told her story, and they contacted an investigator immediately. Kara attempted to identify her captor's apartment with the investigator, but was unsuccessful. She was able to give them enough information, though, that they brought her a photo lineup to the hospital while she was waiting for a sexual assault exam. She was able to identify him immediately.
Good.
Yeah. His name, which I might butcher his last name, but who cares?
He can be butchered.
Yeah. Richard Mark Ivanitz. And he was actually on the run from law enforcement. Shocker.
Yep.
Shocker. Over the following days, Kara began to learn more about her captor. He used to live in Virginia. He was married to a woman with long red hair, and he used to be in the Navy. The police found everything Kara described in his apartment, as well as other things that were found in a footlocker that raised a lot more red flags.
Oh my God, were there other victims?
So inside the footlocker, there were handwritten notes about different girls, as well as newspaper clippings of unsolved murders in Virginia from the mid 1990s. The investigators immediately notified Virginia, and they gathered evidence and compared what they found to the crimes that were in the footlocker. During this time, her captor was still on the run. Well, that was until his sister told law enforcement that he contacted her and they were supposed to meet in Sarasota, Florida. I think that's how
Sarasota?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to pronounce that.
No, it's a hard one.
Whew. So,
Go sister.
yeah.
Go sister. I'm going to tell y'all right now, if your family member is a rapist piece of shit, you turn them in.
Absolutely.
You turn them in without a second thought, no guilt.
No, that there's no reasoning for that. There's
No.
nothing that would ever.
If it was my
make it
own
okay.
child, I would still be like, I have failed.
Yeah.
You are going. Like, absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Nope. Nope. Especially serial rapist and then also serial rapist murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're supposed to meet in Sarasota.
In Sarasota, yep. The law enforcement in Florida set up an operation to intercept him. When he pulled into the restaurant that he was supposed to meet his sister at, he saw the law enforcement, though, and he fled.
Guys, do better.
So there was a car chase, and it stopped when they deployed stop sticks, which are different than spike strips. Apparently, it's supposed to pop the tires in a way that it's slower, so the car doesn't like abruptly flip and the person die or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's not allowed to die easy.
Yeah, well. So Richard wrecked his car and shot himself before cops could get to him.
Oh, you fucking coward.
Yeah.
You coward.
Yeah. This part makes me so angry it brings tears to my eyes.
They're always cowards. Oh.
Yeah.
I am glad he's dead. Also, he should have that too easy.
It was way too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah. Kara learned what came to be of her captor the next day. She was very angry. She wanted to see her across the courtroom and have him know that she was his downfall. Over the next few weeks, the evidence gathered confirmed that Richard was identified as the man who was responsible for the murder of several other girls in Virginia. I won't be going into great details on the other victims, but I do want to mention their names because they deserve that. So some of the girls linked, there were sisters, Kristen Lisk, age 15, and Katie Lisk, age 12. They disappeared from their front yard on May 2nd, 1997. In the lockbox, police found... I got so frustrated. Oh, that scared me.
He's dreaming.
He's dreaming. Thank you, buddy. I needed that.
That's why we keep dogs around for this stuff.
We need it.
We do.
I was getting so worked up I couldn't even talk anymore.
You know, I don't blame. I'm glad you're presenting on this one because I don't know if I could talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew this story. I didn't remember all of it, but yeah, I'm still angry. Just as angry as when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the lockbox that police found in his apartment, there were handwritten directions near the Lisk house and referred to the girls being either 11 or 12 and the other 14 or 15, both brunettes and very cute. Mm-hmm. How disgusting. The next, Sophia Sylvia, age 16, who was abducted again from her front yard and was murdered on September 9th, 1996. Forensics from that crime were able to link the killer to be the same as the List killings. Another thing in the lockbox was directions to where the body of Alicia Reynolds was found dumped on May 7th of 1996. Alicia was a graduate student and she was on her way to meet her mom at a mall. Witnesses said that they saw Alicia's car stopped on the side of the road and a man was appearing to be helping her with her car. However, several women in the area also reported a man with the same description trying to get them to pull over on the road, claiming that there was something wrong with their car. Richard hasn't been definitively linked to this case, though.
Circumstantial, not necessarily forensic.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was really heavy.
That was.
So, I mean, it's still going to be heavy, but a little bit better. So it's been about 22 years since Kara's kidnapping.
Yeah.
Kara became a Richland County deputy.
Good.
She now says that she is actually really thankful that she never had to go to court, so her family never had to hear in great detail what happened to her.
Yeah.
She also has come to realize that even though he said he wouldn't have killed her, he definitely would have if she didn't escape.
Is water wet? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And Kara initially didn't have much reaction to this event. She says that she's never had PTSD of this, hasn't been triggered or anything.
Good for her.
But all of that kind of changed when she became a mother.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, so she's been starting to use exercise and somatic processing tools to help her heal that trauma.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine that. Like knowing what there is, knowing to that extent, and then you have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's married and has 2 little boys, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe that I saw 2 little boys. And
that's good.
She's married, yep. She is now a keynote speaker, a victim's advocate, social media content creator, and soon to be author. I haven't found anything about her book other than something saying coming soon.
Yeah.
No timeline or anything that I could find. If you guys know, please let me know.
Yeah, I want to read that.
And then she also has her own podcast called Survivor's Guide to True Crime.
That would be a very interesting listen.
It would be. Yeah.
We should do that.
From her perspective, absolutely.
Yeah, because now she's got the law enforcement and the firsthand perspective.
Yeah. She's seen everything. Literally everything.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm still circling back to, God, that was too easy. Too easy of a way out. Yeah. That's going to sit with me for a while.
Yeah, it's very... The only comfort is knowing that he can never hurt anyone else ever again.
There is that comfort. And, I am choosing to... I don't quite have my religious beliefs figured out, but I do believe that there is a power in the universe. Mm-hmm. And I would like to believe that if that is true, then the inverse of there being a hell is true. And if that is, I sincerely hope that that is where this individual is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's the only solace I can have there.
Yeah. This guy. But there is a movie about Kara's story, which is originally how I heard about it because I watched it.
Wait, what's the movie? This was giving like the Lovely Bones feel too, which that is one movie I watched once and I will never watch it again.
Yeah, I started watching it and I was like, I'm good.
It will mess you up on
I'm
so many levels.
good. Yeah. So the movie is called The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson story.
I don't think I've seen it.
So the girl who plays Kara does an amazing job. An amazing, amazing job. Her name is Katie Douglas, and I know she's been in quite a few movies. If you saw her face, you'd probably recognize
I
her.
vaguely recognize it. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Amazing, amazing actress. She did an amazing job portraying Kara. And yeah. And from what I saw in the research I've done and me watching the movie once, it seemed pretty true to story. Like, so they didn't sway off much at all.
They don't need to. The story itself is amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. And they had Kara too to help with the movie. So,
good. Yeah, this is not one where you take some creative liberties with it. No, just tell the story.
Yeah, it's incredible alone.
Incredible, horrible.
Yeah, the big thing with the movie is they really showed like what was going on in her head and her like memorizing those numbers and then coming to the cops and being like, this is this number, this is that number, this is his doctor, this is his dentist, this is truly amazing. And then at the end, when I saw it was a true story, I was like, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna look into that.
I mean, as far as these type of stories go, this is probably the happiest ending you're gonna have.
Yep.
Still frustrating.
It's very frustrating, and it's always terrible that these things happen.
Yeah.
But Kara is the type of person that she brought beauty from pain. She found, that positive from this horrible, horrible situation. She could have, become crippled with PTSD. She could have, become
a shell of herself.
Yeah. And she said, this man will not define who I am. And she took that to heart.
Yeah. Good on her.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And that takes a type of mental strength that I don't think people really realize how much that takes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
She is so, so strong. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why I wanted to tell the story because, I mean, it's horrific. It should never happen.
No.
But the strength of this girl is amazing. Truly inspiring.
Yeah. And that's why we tell these stories. And there's two parts to it. Three, technically. One is honoring that strength.
Yep.
Second part is warning children of the dangers because these are things that you need to know. And I hate that children have to know it. And I'm not looking forward to the day that I have to tell my children about the monsters in the world.
Yep.
But telling these stories, also, the third thing is it illustrates that you can have a happy ending. You can have a story after you fought with the monster.
Yeah.
Like the scars from the battle with the monster do not define who you are. Mm-hmm. And that's why you need these stories.
Exactly.
I'm still really angry though, but
I know I can see it in your eyes.
It's there. It's still angry.
Yeah. So yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest. That yeah. So
We're good. I bumped the microphone with my tea and my tea almost spilled and I'm just sitting here stewing, brewing.
I know. Are you good? I've had a while to process this. Are you okay? I can see in
good.
your eyes. They're a little glossy.
They are a little glossy. There is anger, but because it's not the first time I'm hearing this story, I'm processing a lot better. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is feeling Joan of Arc. Like we switched now.
Yeah. Some of these just really hit you and it you can't come up with words to process like what you're going through.
Yeah.
It's just, I remember at the end of Joan of Arc, I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, I have no words.
Yeah.
I'm not okay right now.
Yep. No, it's weird. That is something I'm finding with this podcast, where there are certain things I don't think are going to hit me as hard, and then they do, and it throws me off. But this one, I mean, it's going to hit home regardless, because I've heard these stories my whole life. I've heard stories from people I love and are close to me of going through their own monsters. So it's really hard not to be angry at this, and I'm angry that I know that I will tell my future children about this, because I want them to be protected
Exactly.
as much as I can protect them.
I know. It breaks my heart that we live in a world where we have to do this, but that's reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not judging parenting styles, because I'm a dog parent. I'm not a human parent.
Yeah.
I know it's vastly different, but I have talked with parents who have not told their children about things like this at all. And
I wasn't told for a very, very long time.
I understand waiting to a degree. And I also recognize,
like longer than it should have, other than the stranger danger.
stranger danger. Yeah, that starts young.
Yeah. But like it was held off probably way too long. So I was in this ignorant bliss. And then you start discovering things on your own. And that's, would you rather you tell them, or would you rather them find out through their friends or the internet?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because it's going to happen. It's just, what way do you want them to find out the world isn't rainbows and daisies?
It's not. And at least if you, as the parent, if you are not able to have that conversation, because Jesus, this is a hard conversation to
For
have
us to have.
as us. But, you know, there are programs, there are ways to introduce these topics to your children that are age appropriate. And I highly suggest using those, because it's just like you said, you don't want your children finding out these things, God forbid, from their own personal experience or from their friends, because there is a complexity to this, and there is a fear that comes with learning these things. And having a responsible adult there to help the child guide through those emotions is crucial. I was very, very lucky to have that, because the way that I was raised, my dad was a lawyer. He has worked all types of law. And
I mean, he's seen the worst of the worst, too.
He's seen the worst of the worst. There was plenty of times where he would have a day at the office dealing with the same thing that happened to Kara, happened to a 2-3-year-old little kid. And then he'd come home to me and my sisters at the same age. Like, it was really hard for him to compartmentalize a lot of that. But he also would share with us these stories, so we were aware. My mom, she had friends whose children went through things, and so my mom shared with us as well. So I knew what rape was before I was 10 years old. And that might be a little bit young, but also just what my parents saw and how often that is happening by like strangers. Like this case, that does happen, but most often abuse cases of children are from friends or family. It's like 97% of the cases are actually from close adults. Which is why it's so important to have those conversations and give your children the verbiage to tell somebody that something's happening. Which is why there's also a lot of controversy around, instead of, you know, calling your private parts like, oh, it's your cookie, it's your kitty, it's your whatever, you should be able to use the words of like, nope, that's your penis, that's your vagina, so that you can tell a parent or a teacher
exactly what's going
on. Like, there was a story, I don't remember how many years ago, but a little girl, she had been abused by her uncle, but the word that they used for private parts in their house was cookie. So she told her teacher, yeah, my uncle, you know, hurt my cookie, or he ate my cookie, or did something. But the teacher didn't get it and was like, oh, well, that's very nice, or that's not very nice. And then it came out later that no, she was trying to say, in her words, something happened, but she was too young. She was like kindergarten or something. So it's again, not telling anyone how to parent, but you know,
take this information and
take it and do what you will. but it never hurts to give your children tools to help navigate the world.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to decide how much guidance you give them with that. I know there's some parents that have literally just given books to their children on the subject and been like, read this.
Yeah. I'm not saying any way is right or wrong, but do whatever you feel is best for you and your child.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, maybe one day we'll be at a point where we don't need to have these conversations, but until then, better to be prepared.
Yeah. You got to protect them by preparing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unexpectedly more heavy than I was thinking it was going to be, but
that's why I gave you an option.
You did. No. Well, I know this is pretty heavy. Actually, this one might be the heaviest episode we've done. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could definitely be.
So we do appreciate everybody listening. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to this?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. If anything in this episode really touched you, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you are someone who has experienced your own monsters and are seeking help, there are so many resources online and through your community. You are not alone. There are plenty of people happy and more than willing to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, it's a weird time to plug our social media.
That's what I was thinking.
And I know that's why you paused.
I had to take a second.
So, weird time. I acknowledge it. I apologize for it. But you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast. And that's Chronicles with an S.
Yes. Not all of our topics are this heavy. We try to stagger them out so you don't get whacked with heavy every week.
We do. We also have a Twilight series reaction going on right now. So if you want something a little more uplifting and a little Edward hate.
A lot of Edward hate.
Then you should go check out some of those episodes. Those are our, lighthearted, easy, episodes. Yep. And so if you want something more lighthearted, maybe go look at one of those.
Yeah, they are lighthearted. Yeah. They're totally different reactions.
Yeah.
Twilight.
Yeah, but this is also coming from, I'm reading them for the first time, and how old am I now? 27.
I know. So, I always have to think about that too. I'm like 20.
I almost said 28, but 27.
I did that the other day. Someone asked me my age. I'm like 28.
No, I'm not aging myself up here. Yep. So 27-year-old reading it for the first time after being in a very, very toxic relationship. Not in one anymore.
No.
We're good
husband
there.
Good. Husband very good.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Hi, Mitch, if you're listening.
Yeah, he'll never listen.
Yeah. He hears enough through editing and through our own conversation.
Yeah, he's good. But yeah, on that note, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Adios.
Bye.